going on, everybody? It's Top Bets checking back in. We got our Week 5 top plays and stacks coming at you. But before we get going, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments below who you think goes off this week. As always, check out the Twitch stream every Sunday at 10:30 in the morning. We do free picks, props, DFS advice, and fantasy start sit as all the information comes in. Nice little live stream that we do. And always check out our guys at Occupy Fantasy. They're lineup optimizers, one of the best in the DFS landscapes, covering all sports. So without further ado, let's go. All right, so if you turn into the first look video, one, I appreciate that. And two, we talked about how difficult the slate was going to be in terms of there's not that many elite offenses on this slate. So you don't have the Rams, the Seahawks, the Bills, or the Chiefs. So one of the top four offenses there. Usually guys that we end up stacking game-wise are not here. So I do have 3 game stacks that I truly like. First one is going to be the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. That total sits at 53 right currently as of Friday night. And let me pull that up. So if you guys are new to the stream, when I recommend game stacking, we're talking about 3 by 1. So that means you're going to play 3 from either the Dallas or the Giants side and run it back with one of the opposing pass catchers. So if I'm stacking this game, just for instance, I'll go Dak. You can put Pollard or Elliott in. I'll just put Elliott or Pollard in, and then you can put a wide receiver as maybe a Amari Cooper, and then you're going to bring it back with somebody from the Giants. So I typically go either a wide receiver or a tight end, unless I only do wide receivers unless it's an elite tight end like a Waller or a Kelsey. Don't do it very often. So here, maybe the Tony kid. Yeah, you could put, that's a nice little run back there. Or you could go, with Shepard and Slayton out. You could come back here and go Galladay. So that's the game stack here. You can flip it the other way and go 3 Giants to 1 Cowboys. When I do game stack, I game stack both sides. So that's the first one there is the Giants at the Cowboys. The second one that we got is going to be the 49ers and the Cardinals, and that is the cover boy. Trey Lance gets the first start of his career, and he absolutely dominated the second part of the half that he played. So I look forward to him dominating this Cardinals offense that you can expose on the run. So I do like him here. So if you stack Lance, you could go with this running back situation in San Francisco, Mitchell or Sermon. Mitchell is playing, so I'd probably shy away using either one of them, and I'd maybe go to the surefire Samuel or Ayuk, and then you come back with maybe D-Hop, or you come back with Christian Kirk, or you come back with A.J. Green or Rondale Moore. So either way you go, you got to make sure there's 3, and then come back with that 1. And then the third game that I really, really like is this Titans-Jags game. So a lot to be said. I had a stream earlier with Azim, and we talked about the narrative that maybe the Jags aren't going to play as hard because of what happened with Urban Meyer. That is a narrative, but I'm going to go against it here and think that this game could just be fast-paced with 2 teams that play at the fastest pace of play in the NFL, and I like a lot of pieces that you can tie in. I like maybe going the opposite way of stacking 3 to 1 Jags, but if you do that, I'm going to always have A.J. Brown come back on the backside. I think he's going to have a great week, but no, you could go Tannehill, Brown, and then this Westbrook kid for Tennessee, and then you could always come back with James Robinson. You can come back with Marvin Jones. You can come back with Chenault. So there's a lot of pieces here that you can go with, but always remember 3 by 1s. So those are the 3 stacks: Giants, Cowboys, 49ers, Cardinals, and the Titans and the Jaguars. Always 3-by-1, pick 3 on one side, and then come back with the opposing pass catcher. All right, so let's dive into some top plays at each position. So these are outside of the stacks. So those are the stacks are always kind of the top of the top plays. So if you are going to play quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs, those kind of get preferred. And then these are ones that kind of just fill in the rest of your lineups. So in this instance, so you're going to probably always have a quarterback. If you do not like any of these game stacks, here are 3 that I recommend playing differently. Hurts is in a great matchup here against the Carolina Panthers. As me and Azim did talk on stream, we think that the difference between a lot of the teams that Carolina has played, first with the Cowboys and now with the Eagles, is that they're 2 mobile quarterbacks. So those mobile quarterbacks give teams fits. And I think Jalen Hurts can beat this team with his legs and with his arms. So I do like Jalen Hurts as a pivot as a QB. And then the opposing one in there. So if you want to game stack this one as well, you could go with the NFL's leading rushing touchdowns champ right now, as that's Sam Darnold, who's absolutely been killing it as of late, getting better every single game. So that's another matchup here. So you could end up game stacking, but I like those 2 separately. And then the last one that I like is Joe Burrow. I've been back and forth with who I want to take in this game, but with all the injuries to the Green Bay secondary, I'm in tune to just say let's throw Joe Burrow in here, and he's going to be a high leverage GPP play that I think should be lower owned than the usual. So those are quarterbacks. Running backs. So if you're going to play in your stack, if you got Barkley, if you got Zeke, maybe Edmonds or Connor, Henry, of course, and Robinson. Those are always pieces for those game stacks. These are outside of those game stacks. The number 1 guy this week for me is Alvin Kamara. I don't believe he's not going to have a target again. Who they're playing, the football team, gives up the 31st. They're 31st in DVOA when it comes to pass catching running backs. So I think he's going to have a field day in the air. I do like him to have a blow-up game finally. This football team's defense has not been the same, and I don't think this is a get-right game for them. So Kamara is my first one. Then my second rated one would be Fournette. He's all the way down at 5,200, going to be extremely popular. But when you're game stacking, you're already your chances of being duplicated go extremely low. So you can play these very, very popular running backs and just get different with your game stacks. So not everyone's going to have that one guy coming back on the game. So don't be afraid to throw Lenny in here this week. He clearly separated himself for the rest of the backfield. I do like him to have another stellar game. Then you can go back up here. Austin Eckler dominated on Monday Night Football, and I do believe he's in a tougher matchup here against the Browns, but his usage rate is through the roof. I like him a lot at 7,600. And then the last one that I like is DeAndre Swift. I know he hurt me last week. I'm going to go back to him. He gets too much in the passing game for me to be discouraged at 6,100. So I do think he's got the questionable tag. I do ultimately think he's going to play. And then there are the Damian Williams and Pirine this week. If I do play either one of them, I'm going to probably play Damian Williams a little bit more. Again, you can be with Fournette being $400 cheaper. I'll probably have a little more of Fournette than I will have of Williams. But if you play both of them in a lineup, you can get very, very different with your game stacks. Maybe those Cowboys who are a little bit more expensive. You can throw those two as your running backs. So that's just how you get a little bit different throughout the rest of the field. Some wide receivers that I like outside the game stacks is Justin Jefferson, probably the second highest. Yep, but his target percentage and him and Thielen just own the target share there. And Justin Jefferson, I look for him to have another bounce back. He scored a touchdown in 3 straight games, looking to make it 4. Then, like I said, A.J. Brown is probably my top rated wide receiver this week, and he is down at 6,500. But he'll be part of the game stack. So, but even outside of game stacks, he's a great play. And then you got DeAndre Hopkins. I talked a lot on the stream about how this 49ers secondary, if they decide to play man, they got torched by Devontae Adams. I don't see the Cardinals, straying away from throwing him deep balls, throwing him the ball, one-on-one coverage. So I like D-Hop this week for sure. And then some cheaper wide receivers that I think have some humongous upside. OBJ, he missed a humongous game last week. If Baker could throw, Baker's struggling right now. I look for him to be a little bit better this week against the Chargers, even though Chargers are a tougher defense. But OBJ has too much upside at $6,000. So I like him there. Devontae Smith again in our stack with Hurts if you're going to go that route, but I do like him separate. And then DJ Moore. So DJ Moore is, especially without Christian McCaffrey there, absolutely love him. He's running the same routes as CMC will eventually take over. But 12 targets, 11 targets, over 8 receptions, or right at eight receptions for the last 3 games. Incredible usage. I don't see them straying away here as well. So DJ Moore is a great play as well. So if you are playing those cheaper running backs, you can fit these more expensive wide receivers in there. Tight ends, Waller's the only one that's projected for probably multiple targets. So he could be he probably is the most probably the top tight end for this slate. Obviously at 7,300, but his ceiling is obviously the highest. But my favorite play on this one is Gesicki. A great matchup against this depleted Tampa Bay secondary. And what does Jacoby Brissett do? He targets the hell out of his tight end position. So he's had 18 targets in the last 2 games with Jacoby Brissett, and I think his over/under is 3.5 for receptions. So I'm going to be taking that as well. I don't know why it's at 3.5. He's had 10 and then 5. So he's clearly getting targeted enough to get his. He finally got in the end zone last week. I could potentially see him getting that this week as well. Another one is Dalton Schultz. He's emerged as the top tight end in Dallas. Without Gallup there, I think he can still be serviceable and give you 26 points. Pretty dang elite and he was at 3,300. Now he's at 4,400, so he's been up to about $1,000. His floor, he probably is in between 10 and 12 right now. So solid outage here at 4,400. Like him a lot. Some cheap defenses that I like. The Chargers down here at 2,700 at home against the Browns. I know I like OBJ. However, Baker has been hurt, and you could definitely get some. I could see a pick 6 happening in this game. And then the pay up defense I'd probably do would be the Raiders, maybe 2,900. I wouldn't go anywhere higher than 3,000. Just I like to save money on defenses as always, so you can pay up for the skill positions. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, feel free to reach out to me at @bets on Twitter. As always, leave a comment of who you think goes off this week, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. And so I'll see you guys on Sunday, and good luck.